Welcome, 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 welcome to In the Loop Lupus Live, where we bring you Lupus warrior stories to educate, inspire, encourage, and empower you. Today, we have a phenomenal lupus warrior, Diana Saraceno, and we are excited to hear her story and to learn a little bit more about her overcoming and how she has been living well beyond lupus. So let's not waste any more time. I see some people are already here, and I see Diana's here, so I'm going to bring her on up to the stage and we're going to get started. Hi, Diana.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. I'm so excited to hear your story and to hear what's been going on in your life to make you get to the point where you are today. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? What
Okay.
are you married? Do you have children?
Okay. I was born and raised on Long Island, New York.
Yay.
And then after I graduated high school, my parents and I moved to Florida.
Wow.
Um, and I lived in Florida for about 27 years
Wow.
and was married, had two daughters. Oh, and then I got divorced
Mhm.
and remarried. And I have, so my daughters are 25, 23, and then I have an 8-year-old son.
Oh, wow.
You have to be careful what you ask God for.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, and then about 6 years ago, we moved to Michigan to take care of my father in law.
Okay.
And then presently, I'm in Florida, taking not taking care of because, but supporting my parents. My mom has been ill, and my
Okay.
dad now too. So
Okay. Understandable. What part of Long Island are you from?
Comac.
Oh, okay, I'm from Freeport. My
Oh,
sister still
okay.
lives in Freeport.
All right. Yeah, we lived in Mastic when I was a little girl.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
awesome, awesome. So we're here to talk about your story. So tell me,
Right.
when were you diagnosed with lupus, and what led to your diagnosis?
Okay. So the first positive ANA test I had was April of 1996. Right after I had my first daughter, I got sick and I wasn't getting better. And I just kind of threw it up to, newborn baby, mom's tired. I was 24 years old. And at that time, I did have a very good rheumatoid doctor, but he said, "Oh, just change your diet," and I knew nothing about it. And at that time, I wasn't really into computers or, anything. So I didn't research. I just thought, okay. And after like every 6 months, you get tested, the blood test. And my grandma kept saying, "I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you, whatever this is." And the next time I went back, they couldn't find it in my blood work.
Mm,
So I
wow,
was like, wow, those are some prayers, Grandma.
you've done well.
Right? And I was like, and so, I went about, I was one of those go, 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 working, raising my daughters and whatnot. I started to have some heart issues during my divorce, some anxiety, depression, obviously. And then it was about almost 2 years ago now, I got really sick, collapsed at work. It was
Wow,
March 18th, 2018. Collapsed at work on the floor. Called my manager, said, "I think I'm having a heart attack." I had pounding.
wow.
I was at the service desk and I was by myself for a couple hours, but didn't think nothing of it. And I remember the head cashier sitting with me on the floor holding my hand. And I
Mm.
said, "Please don't let me die. I've got,
Um,
my son and my daughters don't need me." But,
right, right,
and
yeah.
her saying, "I'm not going to let you die." And then I heard her whisper, "Where's the ambulance?" Well, they had gone to the wrong Home Depot.
Oh
And
no.
I thought, this is it. I'm done. This
You're
is
like,
the
oh man,
last
all because the ambulance couldn't come, right?
So, but thank goodness the good Lord sent the ambulance in time, and they did all these cardiac tests on me, heart catheterization and echoes and all of that. And they said, we really think it was just stress. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Right.
So after that, I was never the same, absolutely never the same. And I ended up leaving Home Depot at that point and kind of taking a look at my life and thinking, okay, I got to change something.
Yeah.
And I came to Florida for about 5 months and then went back to Michigan and said, I'm going to give Home Depot another chance. I went to a different Home Depot,
Right. Right.
start fresh. And then just notice little things, getting really tired, or I'd
Mm.
be walking around the corner to get up to my area and I could feel my body start getting tight.
Mm.
And I
Wow.
thought, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Then I was having a party for my husband, May
Hmm.
2019 at Dodge Park in Michigan. And my stomach started hurting so bad. And I said, I got to get to the bathroom before I leave with our son. My husband was going to stay and clean up with his mom. And
Hmm.
I was in the bathroom and everything started getting fuzzy. And I just barely got the door open and I slid down the wall.
Wow.
And I remember this girl holding my hand and trying to feel my pulse. She was a nurse
Mm.
and she stayed with me till the ambulance came. And I just don't remember a whole lot, but I remember a couple of things. And I think I was like 70 over 20.
Wow.
And so got real sick. They didn't know. They thought I had ischemic colitis
Hmm.
at that point. And then, a whole bunch of workup and whatnot.
Right.
And they found out I had two blood clots. One went to the colon,
Oh.
one went to the right lower lung. I was just a mess.
Right. Right. Your body was just turning on you.
It's like, so I had everybody. I had an oncologist, I had GI doctors, I had everybody. But I was just so lucky that I made it through that. And matter of fact, the following week in the news, a 28-year-old boy had a blood clot and hadn't made it. So
Wow.
I kept saying, why me? Why am I here? I felt so bad for that boy I heard on the news. And,
Right.
well, not a boy, he's a man. But, um, and then I made it back to work for about 8 weeks. And then I got sick again, had to go to the hospital.
Mm.
And it was just downhill from there. I
Yeah.
never made it back to work.
Right.
I've been home on long term disability. Home Depot's been wonderful to me.
Right.
They've done
Right.
all they can.
Yeah.
And it's been a battle. I'm 49 right now. I'll be 50
Mhm.
in November, and it's
Oh.
not what I imagined for.
Right.
But I'm
Right.
still here, and I know there's so many worse than me, but you
Yeah.
just never know.
So you were officially diagnosed in what, around 2019?
So January 2020, they finally said, we think you have lupus, or maybe lupus with MS. My
Wow.
primary, because I have shakiness real bad in the morning, and
Hmm.
now it's staying throughout the day more.
Wow.
But
Okay.
they say they're benign tremors and they're not going to get any better.
Right. Right. Right.
Um,
So
so
you're fairly new. I mean, even though you've had a long road to get your diagnosis, you're still really still new to what
right,
lupus is bringing to you.
right, right.
That's
And
rough.
I'm still, like other warriors will talk about, going from doctor to doctor. I'm looking for my fourth rheumatoid doctor
Wow.
because my rheumatoid doctor, my third one, um, he just told me, you don't have any symptoms of lupus. Who told
Mm.
you that?
See, that's that
And
medical gaslighting again.
I'm like, And I ended up, he had taken away one of my Zymbalta, and he took away one of my Plaquenil. And a week later, I was in the hospital.
Mm,
And so they told me to go back to my rheumatoid doctor for a follow up. So I did.
right.
And he was just like, that going off that medicine didn't cause that, and I'm
Still
like,
just
well,
excusing it all.
yeah. So I'm like, okay, we're done.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
It was, which is probably the best thing you could have ever done.
right, right. And, you hear it all the time. You've got to be your own advocate. And I
Right,
didn't really understand that till that moment,
right,
when someone's saying to me, well, what lupus symptoms do you have? What? And I'm like, and I've got my journal. I'm like, it's all
right,
in here.
right, right.
So,
Exactly. It's a shame because there are a lot of doctors out there that are doing that to a lot of people who
mhm,
are searching for answers for their health care. And
right.
it's so hard if you don't know how to advocate for yourself or you're afraid to because you think the doctor knows everything
Sure.
and they don't.
Right.
They
And
really
he's an older doctor. So I thought, oh,
right.
he's got so much experience. He's seen so much.
Right. Not really the case, right?
Nope, not this one.
Yeah, yeah, he's kind of stuck. Sometimes the older doctors can be stuck in their ways, but it seems like a lot of doctors just don't really understand lupus.
Right.
They don't understand how it mimics so many other diseases.
Right.
It's real. Your pain is real. Your exhaustion is real. Your fatigue is real.
Hmm.
And when they start to just put you off to the side, oh, lose weight or nothing's wrong with you. No, something's wrong. And I'm going to find somebody that understands that.
Right. Right.
Yeah, very much so. So Corey says, let's see. Corey says, I've had two rheumatologists do the same thing. He's waiting to see his third as well. So it's not just you. And
Yep.
sometimes that's the purpose of us talking to different lupus warriors all over the world because we need to know that we're not alone in things
Yes.
that's happening. That
Yes.
medical gaslighting is becoming very, very heavy
Right.
within the lupus community, and we definitely have to have a stop. You can always, always, always send a complaint to the doctor's
Absolutely.
board and everything like that if you really feel that there was an
Hmm. Those surveys, I used to not pay attention to them. Let me tell you, I do
absolutely,
every survey.
absolutely,
'Cause-
absolutely. You have to because if you don't,
right.
you'll never know that
Sure.
this guy might have been practicing for 30 years, but he's stuck 30 years behind us.
Exactly.
When they didn't know. Marcia
Right.
says, or Marika, I hope I'm saying that right. Those are the worst because they are stuck in their ways. It really is. It really
Abs-
is. They
right.
are absolutely the worst. So when the doctor finally told you that you had lupus, did he say it was systemic lupus? Which type of lupus do you have?
Systemic lupus.
Okay. So
Right.
have your organs become involved or anything like that?
My liver enzymes have been elevated, so they're concerned about that.
Okay.
Um, the main thing going on right now is the muscle in the esophagus. I'm
Mm, mm,
choking on liquids,
mm.
solids, scrambled eggs.
Wow.
So I underwent a swallow test
Mhm.
and whatnot, and so they wanted me to try and lose weight, but I've only been able to lose 5 pounds.
Mhm.
So we have to see now whether to go ahead and do the surgery or to keep trying to see if I can lose more weight.
Right, I got you. I got you. Yeah, sometimes the swallowing can be a little bit difficult. And the teeth, sometimes it gets to a point where you have to have the scope down your throat and make sure everything is clear there as well.
Right. I
Like,
had an ulcer, but
oh,
that's
did you?
healing. And I do have hiatal hernia.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Now, someone from Lupus Inspiration from Instagram, because we're also streaming to
Right.
Instagram. He says you should bring your lab work from your previous hospitalizations and doctors. Lupus markers don't always show if you are on medication and it's been treated. So, as a new doctor, he may not see it. That is an awesome, awesome, important point. Because if you're on medications for lupus and they're working, your markers might not show lupus.
True.
Thank you, Lupus
That's,
Inspiration.
yeah, that's very good.
Yeah, so that's something that you can take with you next time you go to find another lupus doctor. Let's see who else says something on. Here we go. So I don't see any other questions on Instagram. So when you first were diagnosed, and now that you know exactly what it is, what were your thoughts? What did it make you feel like? I mean, what went through your mind?
Yeah, at that moment, I think I thought, oh my goodness, like, what am I going to do? I think, I guess for me, I worry about the financial part because I've always worked.
Right.
So the financial part was like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? And to be honest, I started to almost have like, they talk about post-traumatic stress. I was scared
Absolutely.
to be home alone.
Mm,
I was scared I was going to collapse and someone wouldn't find me to the end of the day, or scared, my son, you know, being with my son,
right.
that, because of the extreme fatigue, he had been homeschooled this last year.
Yeah.
So but yeah, at that moment, it's kind of like a rush. Like you almost see, everything flash and you think, you know, but then I remember being in the car and thinking, well, Diana, you had all those years to raise your daughters and you made that through. So now you're 49,
Right.
so it was like, I had to be grateful that most of my life,
Hmm.
this wasn't, it didn't, it wasn't my whole lifetime that I had time to
Right. Right. Right.
do. But
I mean, you kind of just change your focus a little bit on why me, and went to, okay, look, what do I need to do?
right. And we ended up at that point, we lived in a mobile home and I
Hmm.
was falling and tripping a lot because the porch steps,
Right.
we sold that. We moved into a handicap accessible condo
Hmm.
because after, um, I guess to back up a little bit, I had a colon resection surgery
Okay.
October of 2019 due to diverticulitis issues that came after the blood clots.
Okay.
And then I had a neck fusion um, surgery a year ago, this coming August.
Mm.
So after my neck fusion, they wanted me to use a walker.
Okay.
Because
Now, what was the neck fusion? What did they have to actually do?
I started having a lot of pain up in my neck
Mm.
and the right shoulder and the lower back. And after several x-rays and ultrasounds and MRIs, they did a brain MRI and they found white spots on the brain,
Oh, okay.
which they thought could be from severe migraines that I had,
Okay.
lupus, it could be MS. They weren't sure, but they ended up putting in, it's like a plate with 3 screws,
Hmm.
because I had cervical stenosis.
Wow. Okay.
There wasn't much spinal fluid in this
Mhm.
area. Um,
Which caused the pain in the back and everything.
right, right.
Wow.
So they felt that this would help, and I had a wonderful, incredible surgeon, but I'm still having a lot of pain. So, I mean, I'm glad I had the surgery because they said if I didn't and we were in an accident, I could be a
Mhm.
paraplegic.
Wow.
And I thought, okay. At first, I was like, I am not doing this surgery. I don't care what this man says.
Right.
I
Right.
was like, okay, let me check my calendar.
Let me see if I can fit this surgery
Yeah,
in.
let me see.
I mean, well, you have to have that type of attitude. You can't be so down on yourself because you have to make these decisions.
Right.
and you have to make the decisions that's right for you.
Right.
So it's real important.
Yeah. And I've been naughty. I mean, I don't like walking with the cane with the walker.
Right.
Now, so I fought that for a while. So now I've been using a cane, but
Right, I understand. Robin says, I feel your pain on the cervical surgery. She hopes that
oh,
helps some.
thank you so much. Thank you.
And I
Yeah.
just want to, say thank you everybody for tuning in. So far, Diana's story is amazing. She's still here today to tell you what's going on. And that's the amazing thing about Lupus Warriors. So now, how do you usually explain like any issues that you might have from lupus to other people? How do you explain lupus to other people?
I try to explain to them, the basic facts, that it's an autoimmune disease that can attack, many of the organs of the body. And a lot of times, as everyone probably hears, like my cousin, she'll say, but you look good. Maybe if you just, get back to work.
Right. As if it's that easy, right?
And I, she means well, but a lot of times people still don't understand. There's so much unknown, and um, but I read that book by Donna Oram.
Mm-hmm. What's the
Um,
name of it?
yes. Um, I'm going to go blank now on the title.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, isn't that terrible? Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. But it
Right.
was her first book, and it really helped me, um, understand and know that what I was feeling was okay. And then I gave it to my family, and that helped as far as
Right.
family. But as far as friends and family, they feel bad,
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. But it's really hard for people to understand because it's a lot of times that invisible illness. You
Right. Right. It's like, people, and it's always our family and our closest friends that are always saying, "Oh, you look good." So so most of the time I don't think that you're sick, but it's like, what does illness look like? They
Right,
don't really understand what illness looks like for you until they see you in the hospital, and it's like, oh, wow.
right, right.
It's kind of rough, but it's good that you do have some family support that helps you through and that you can talk to, correct?
Yes, yeah, I'm very fortunate. And then I'm part of the Michigan Lupus Foundation, and
Oh,
so
awesome.
we have Zoom meetings, and if anyone's able to join in or whatnot,
Mhm.
we have a wonderful group, and it's really gotten me through some difficult times.
You know what? Support is very important. Support is very important. When I find new lupus warriors, the first thing I tell them is to find a support group. It doesn't have to be a huge support group. It could be 3 or 4 people. Just find a support group of people that know what you're going through and
Mhm.
can understand what's happening.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Donna says she loves her some Donna Orm. I'm gonna have to look up her book, Robin.
Yeah,
If you,
I apologize. There goes I swear I write everything down because it's just gone.
right, right. And then Robin gives us another little tip was My Beautiful Butterfly by Kelly Rosetta is a great book for children whose family member has lupus. I have to look that up.
Gotta write that down. I've always got my paper,
See, there you go. There you go. So My Beautiful Butterfly by Kelly Rosetta.
thank you very
That,
much.
yeah. Because you said you have an 8-year-old,
Yeah,
right? That
yes,
book might be amazing to
yeah,
help you explain it.
beautiful butterfly. Yes, matter of fact, his school, um, they were so phenomenal before COVID hit. They had seen me walking with the cane, and the teachers got together and would walk him out to the car for me, so I didn't have to go as far to get him. And I remember the teacher one day saying to the children, after COVID and whatnot, if you could do something, what would you like to do, to help others? And he said, I wish my mommy's lupus would go away.
Oh.
And oh,
Yeah, your heart just
you're
melted.
like, oh,
Aw.
so it impacts everyone, you
It
know?
really does. It really does. And my son was about 4 years old when I was, diagnosed. He's 23 now. But,
Wow.
um, it's hard
Oh,
for the children to understand, mom can't go outside and play right now, or
right,
wanna lay in the bed right now, come lay beside me. You do those little things to help them understand the severity of what's going through it.
right.
Corey says his lupus support group saved my life.
Mm,
Talking to others helped me realize I'm not crazy, man. That is the truth, because sometimes even when you know you're sick, you can feel a little out
mm,
of it. Like,
sure.
am I making this up in my head? Do you ever feel like that?
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh my goodness. There's sometimes, because it literally felt like I went to bed one night. I woke up and it was like I looked in the mirror and there was someone else staring at me.
Right,
And
right. A whole different person, right?
oh my goodness. Yes.
And I guess when we're first diagnosed, we go through those morning stages more than
Hmm.
when you're further out in your diagnosis, because you kind of, I hate to say it, you kind of get used to it.
Right.
So have you gone through those morning stages of being angry, of being sad, of, trying to reason with God, like, Lord, if you take this away, I won't do this. Have you gone through that
Yeah.
yet?
Oh my goodness. Yes. I have moments where, like you were saying about your son,
Hmm.
where my son and I, we used to do the trails at a park. I used to be able to keep up with him when he rode his bike, play baseball, do all these things. And there's a lot of times now where I have to sit in the chair and watch him play, and I
Yeah.
can feel the tears right here, like,
Yeah.
um, so yeah, I've gone through, being angry and upset and, um, all of it, just all of it, and then, my husband, he's gotten very protective of me,
Right.
and that is wonderful at times, but at other times I feel like I'm being smothered, and it's like, don't tell me what to do. I'm a grown woman.
Grown.
I'm a grown woman. Don't tell me what to do, you know? And then I get, well, I don't want to hear it when you fall because you're not using your walker like the doctor said, and
Right. Right.
so,
It's hard. It's hard relating. Don't you find that
oh,
as you're going through stuff, you sometimes we tend to be a little mean because we're in pain.
mhm. Oh yes.
Can't help it.
Yep. My husband said, this lupus is making you mean. And I said, step away.
I'm gonna show you mean.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
But it's good that at least he's trying, and at least
Yeah,
he's pointing it out to you, because sometimes I think that in our pain, sometimes we can get lost so much in that pain
right.
that we don't even realize how we're coming off to people.
True.
And even though it's our issue
Hmm.
of pain that we're dealing with, sometimes we do have to stop and say, whew, okay, I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm having a little roid rage
Right.
because I'm weaning off a prednisone or something like that. you know? So please forgive me charging to my head and my lupus and not my heart.
Right. Right.
That, I mean, it's so true.
Yeah.
Robin says another good book is You Don't Have to Wear the Ugly Dress.
Oh,
You don't have to wear the ugly dress. And Disco Flower 21 on IG says she loves you, Diana.
oh. Thank you.
I love it when people come on and say
I
that.
you too.
And Lupus Inspiration says you are so brave.
Oh, bless you.
So
Thank you.
I love that people give encouragement. It's so important because we're
Oh,
fighting such a hard fight,
yes.
and it can be so lonely.
Yes.
So
And,
lonely.
there was a woman on the Instagram this week,
Hmm.
that was she had a chest tube
Hmm.
in, and she was having serious problems. And I thought, my goodness, how
Right.
lucky am I that this poor woman, you know,
Right.
and
Right.
I started praying for her, and she
Mm.
came out of the hospital today and went home.
Awesome. See,
So
prayers work. Prayers work.
strong.
Yeah, I don't care what you call it. You could call it good
Sure.
vibes. You can
Right.
call it, higher power, the
Absolutely.
universe, whatever it is.
Right.
If you send it out, it's going to come back to you. And I'm glad that she is out of the hospital because it can be difficult. You
Yeah.
know,
Yes.
you know.
And, I started putting binders together with my medical papers and,
Right,
and the plastic sleeves and keeping them organized because,
right.
yeah, you just have to be your own advocate. And
Yeah. And you have to have all of that stuff easily accessible. So
right,
that when you have to change doctors like you're doing,
right,
you have that stuff. Boom. Look,
right.
this is what I'm going through, A, B, C, and D. you know
Absolutely.
and we have a new help. We're partnered with a health app that does that for you if you want to do it
Oh,
on your phone. um,
oh,
it's called ilahealth.com. I'm going to put it in the chat room as well.
okay.
And it's an app that and I'm sorry, I don't mean to do it, but
No,
this is actually something that's going to help a lot of us.
sure.
It's an app that uh, has all of that information, all of your information in a journal, just like you need it in the book, and all your medical information you can put in it. And then this way, since you're always going to have your phone, you're just going to go and take your phone and use it that way and say, look, doc, this is the trends. It shows you all the different trends and things of that nature. And that's just something small that we try to help other lupus warriors with, so that they can be right on point with educating themselves and keeping track. We do a lot of journaling,
Hmm.
and we do a lot of positive affirmations and things like that. But if you can have that in the palm of your hand, every last thing that you did last week, and
Right.
you can show the trend, wow,
That's incredible.
amazing. Amazing. So it's called ilahealth.com. And when you click on that and download the app, let me know, and then I'll send you an invitation. I'll actually send you an invitation tonight.
Okay. Wonderful. Boy, that's
And
better
it's
than carrying my binders.
right, because after a while, I was carrying like stacks. Wait, doc, on page 977.
I tell you what, my GI doctor's assistant, she called me one night and she said, I didn't forget about you. She says, are you the one with like the 200 pages? I said, that's me.
Absolutely. Did you look at 201?
She says, I have to take you home with me this weekend and read you. I'm like, okay, sorry.
Do what you have to do, doc. Just come back with an answer. Absolutely. So now, you said your biggest support system is your family and some of your friends. So that's awesome to have a support system, and you also have a support group that you're part of.
Right.
So everybody who's listening and everybody who's out there, know that support is important to beating lupus.
Mm.
But what are your most successful strategies in coping with your pain and coping with the emotional stress that lupus can bring?
I think that I just have this push inside me, and I don't know if it's because of my children or that I have a young son at home, because there's a lot of mornings I don't know how I'm going to get out of bed,
Mhm.
and and I know I have to at times, when my husband's at work, and but um I just think because I've always been the type, when the doctor was talking about my neck, and things to do, I never said I can't or I just don't want to. It's always to me, it was like, okay, I'll get there.
Right.
So,
Just
just,
give me a minute to get there, right?
yeah, just, looking at the big picture, trying to picture where I want to be,
Right.
and, um,
So
some,
you had to really just readjust your mindset and
right.
focus on something different in order to get you through those painful moments.
Right. And I mean, there's times, my husband walks in the door from work and I lay on the couch and I'm out for like 3 or 4 hours or out to dinner,
Right, right.
out cold. And you just can't help it. It's just, Or one day I was sitting at the kitchen table at my mother-in-law's, and I just couldn't keep my eyes open anymore.
Right. And just flat line on the table, huh?
He's like, go in the recliner, you know? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but yeah, but sometimes I'm my worst enemy too. Sometimes I push
Mm.
myself too far,
Mm.
help either. So you have to have that. You have to find that balance,
Right.
you
Right.
know.
Right. Absolutely.
But
The balance is definitely important because when we're feeling well, it's like, ooh, let me do everything.
right.
Every little thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go swimming, I'm gonna go running, I'm gonna
Right.
do all this stuff that I thought that I could do. And then tomorrow I'm gonna be laid out, prostrate on the floor.
Oh yeah. Like I used to, on my day off, I'd go to Target and go to Kroger and go here and go there. And I'm not that same woman anymore. I can't do it all. I'm not Wonder Woman that way
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, sometimes you have to take the S off your chest, right?
Right. That's right.
That's true.
Yeah.
Now, has your lupus or the medications interfered with specific life activity that you used to love to do? And
Oh,
I know you said you love to do like the hiking and stuff with your son.
yeah.
What
Oh,
other things have you had to change or modify?
right. Thinking now, when I was at Home Depot, they used to call me the Florida girl because I love the sun, love
Mm,
being outside. And so that, sitting on the porch in the shade and finding the shadiest part now, it's like, oh, or
mhm.
having to wear, I've been trying to wear long sleeves,
Sleeves,
you know,
yeah.
and the shirts that have the SPF.
Right, right,
So making those changes, and just it's really hard to, like even today, I feel like I could barely walk with my cane. And
right.
the heat bothers me a
Oh
lot
my
now.
gosh, yeah.
Oh my
And you would
God.
think that the heat would help you more.
I know. I know. It just seems, I don't know. I think maybe I'm having my midlife crisis too.
Already there, girl. So if you are, welcome. If not, get prepared.
I'm like, hmm.
Yeah, yeah, it can be difficult. It can be very difficult. How do
Yeah.
you handle the physical demands that lupus may bring? I know sometimes you said that you don't use your cane like you're supposed to, and then you might fall, and that jogs you back.
Right.
How do you handle that mentally?
Um, I have been doing a lot of like meditating,
Mhm.
and I know at first when my older daughter told me, "Oh, you need to do yoga and meditation," I was like, "Yeah, but it's hard. Sometimes I just need some time to myself
Mhm.
to kind of refocus
Right,
or get through those, feelings." Um,
right.
you know,
Yeah,
it's
sometimes you just gotta stop, right?
yeah, yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. Disco Flower says, it's your inner strength. You have always been a go-getter.
Oh,
You always work through any adversity. I like you, Disco Flower. Let us know.
my best friend who I met
Awesome.
in Lamaze class when I was pregnant with my first daughter. I love you.
Wow. That's awesome. It's awesome to have that friendship
Yes.
because it makes you feel a little bit more like normal.
Right. And I think because, like she's known me for 26 years. So she's seen me at my best and my worst.
Right.
And she's still
Right.
there, So,
Yeah. She still decides to
yeah.
hang in there with you and she understands you. And that's awesome. I love friendships like that. I love it. And she says she loves you right on back. I love it. I love it. Robin says sometimes we pay for being part of the land of the living and being stubborn. Ooh, that
Oh,
that kind of hit me in the heart, Robin.
yeah.
Because it's true. We
Yeah,
are stubborn.
we are.
You
We
know,
are.
we're stubborn about taking our medicines. We're stubborn about, not
Yeah.
being out in the sun all day. It's
Right.
beautiful out. I want to be out. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
What do
I
you feel the most stubborn on?
Me?
Yeah.
Let's see. probably not covering up as much as I should sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like my husband saw, I don't know if you can see, I've got some
Yeah, the
tan.
tan line.
Oh, my husband's like, you should not have tan lines. I'm
All I did was go to the mailbox.
like, oops.
Yeah. Sometimes we have to pay the cost though.
Yes.
And like Robin said, it is what it is.
Right.
You know.
I was sitting at breakfast with my parents one day, and my parents are 72 and 77, and
Wow.
I'm taking more pills than them. And I know that got me really down.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
that they were taking as many pills as me,
No.
but
It's like I'm my age and I'm
right.
taking more pills than my parents.
Yeah. So that, I think sometimes I get upset. I look down and I'm taking 16 pills a day. And if I take 2 pills away, I end up in the hospital.
Wow.
So I think has frustrated me, because I was the type, I would hardly take Tylenol. I did not like taking medicine.
Yeah. I'm
That,
with you on that one.
yeah.
And then something happens like this.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, where's my medicine?
Oh, I when you go on, people can't believe it. When I was, I got one of those medicine,
Mm-hmm. The little pill boxes.
Yep. And I take them, take my little slot for the day out with me. And matter of fact, just last week I made a mistake. I turned I turned it around and took double doses of the morning and the evening somehow. And I thought, oh my word,
I should feel like a superhuman now that I took double doses.
I wish. Yeah. I was like, oh my goodness, I couldn't believe I did that. So,
and sometimes you get to the point where you're sitting there with the brain fog.
Yes.
And you're like, did I take my medicine or did I not take my medicine?
Yes.
Did I take it twice or 3 times? You're just sitting there so confused. You just end up like, I'm going to go to bed.
Yep. I had that with my metoprolol one day. I said, I don't know if I took it or not. So I called the doctor. I said, should I take another one? They said, are you home alone? I said, yes. They said, don't take another one. Your blood pressure dropped too far and no one will be there.
Yeah. You'll be in a world of trouble then.
Like, okay, never mind.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to adjust. It's hard to adjust. And once you adjust your mindset, to say to yourself, okay, this is what's happening to me, and I'm just going to take it as it comes and move forward, then I think it makes it just a little bit easier. It doesn't make it go away, but it does make it just a little bit easier. Do you feel that way?
I think so. Yeah.
That mindset has a lot to do with it. A lot to do with how you handle it and how you even respond to lupus and what it does to you.
Right.
Now, what have you learned about yourself since being diagnosed? Have you learned anything special? You learned anything that is changing?
I think I found out I was stronger than I thought I was.
Right. Yeah.
And more flexible.
Right.
And I think, being home alone, and with my son and whatnot, I've learned to enjoy things in life a lot better. I see things differently. I started taking pictures. I love to take pictures. And now, once this happened, I noticed myself taking more and more pictures of nature and things, and just appreciating things a lot more. And, appreciating my friends, my family a lot more, trying to have more patience.
Yeah. That's important. That's important. What you said, appreciating things much more and having patience. Not only patience for other people, I hope you're also having patience for yourself. Because I think sometimes we get so hard on ourselves. Oh, I haven't been using my walker, or, I'm not doing well with my pills. And we get so down on ourselves that we have to even exhibit some patience with our bodies and allowing it to heal and things of that nature. Do you feel that that's something that you're doing more of now as well?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's like you said, you go through these different stages, of if I had done this, or maybe if I had done that, or, but,
Yeah. Yeah.
it is what it is. I mean, I didn't realize, like, my older daughter, Lindsay, she has Raynaud's, and she is POTS.
Hmm.
Um, and then we just found out my dad has the skin lupus.
Oh, discoid lupus,
Yeah,
really?
yes, because
Venus, okay.
the dermatologist did blood work on him. So
Hmm.
he's 77. So
Right,
uh,
right.
it's genetic, and you just,
Yeah.
you know,
I often feel that it's genetic.
hmm
I often feel that it's been in the line and we just don't know.
right.
So we just because it's hard to find out, you know,
hmm
well, great great great
Right.
grandparents, they didn't know what lupus was back then.
Mm-mm.
So I often think that I wish I was a scientist so I could really get into that and find out like
Right.
where is that gene
Yeah.
we can alter to remove lupus from the body.
Mhm.
Especially if it's coming, like you said, your father has cutaneous lupus or discoid lupus,
Mhm.
your
Mhm.
daughter has Raynaud's, and it's in a line somewhere. It's got to
Right.
be.
Right.
It's got to be. Erica says, yes, that's the hard part, patience. Yes, Erica, it
Mm.
is hard. And I think it's harder to exhibit patience for ourselves.
Right.
Sometimes we have to extend ourselves some grace, you know.
Right.
Corey says the brain fog is the worst.
Mm.
Yes. Yes, yes. My wife got me a pill box with removable slots for each day. Oh, so I can carry them with me and I'll know if I took them. That's a good idea. I never thought of a slot that you just pull out
Mm-hmm.
and pop in your pocket or your pocketbook.
Yep. It's the
And yeah. But knowing me, I would forget the slot.
or you turn it around like me and take both ends.
Like, yeah, I took the PM and the AM. It's crazy. It's crazy. Um, what is your fight song? What is the song that you have to listen to in order to get you up and get you going?
Oh, I watched a couple weeks ago. I watched this documentary on Pink,
Mhm.
on her life, and oh my gosh, I have been listening to Pink every morning.
She's amazing.
Oh
I
my
love it.
goodness! And she just has that new song with Keith Urban.
Oh yes, what's the name of that song?
You're asking
I
the
just heard
wrong
it.
girl.
Yeah, I just heard it the other day. I just heard it the other day. I can't remember the name of the song.
Uh,
Oh my goodness. If someone knows the name of that song, go ahead and put it in the comments. Robin says Pink is the bomb.
oh
She
my God!
really is. I love it.
I just I love her. So yeah, that's been my go-to lately.
Right. Do you find that music helps you
Ye-
get through some pain and get through some issues?
yes, yes.
Mhm.
I just and laughter.
Yeah.
Laughing with my son is the best medicine.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And I'm sure your son has a great sense of humor and he helps you
Oh,
through.
yeah, he is. He's just been wonderful. Not all the time, but most of the time.
Yeah. Well, he wouldn't be a boy if he wasn't,
It's
or a child even. It's not even a boy. It's just being a child at this point.
and my children. My younger daughter Allison. She actually came on one of the Zoom meetings with the
Mhm.
Michigan Lupus Foundation
Mhm.
to try and understand better. And I'm so blessed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's the support is so important.
Mhm.
And sometimes, I think people might shun away from it because they don't want to give of themselves.
Right.
It's hard to really tell your story
hmm
and not get choked up and
Yeah.
not not get into a depression, saying, oh my gosh, it's just been so horrible.
Right.
But it's so important to tell your story because it can help you heal.
Right.
Because you really start to see where you came from,
Mm-hmm.
where you went, and how you have overcome and come to where you are today. Even though today might be a hard day,
Right.
you still can know that, look, I came from such a long way,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm here now today, and I'm happy to be here,
Right.
in this moment.
And I think back to that nurse that was at Dodge Park that day I collapsed, and what, she wasn't there, right? I mean, she was put there almost, you know.
Right. She was definitely there at the right time
Right.
to
Right.
assist you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can't do anything but be grateful for that,
Mm. Yes. Yeah.
And like you said earlier, you said something about why was I here? What do I have to do with this?
Right.
And I think once we get to that point of, okay, what do I need to do with this now?
Mm-hmm.
Then boom, your whole life changes.
Right.
Doesn't cure lupus,
No.
but it definitely makes it a little easier to deal with.
Right.
You
It,
know,
it gives you a part of yourself back.
right? Absolutely, absolutely. That's the best way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Because we lose so much of ourselves.
Right.
And it's hard to remember what we once was
Mm-hmm.
and come to where we are in our being right now. But the things that you're doing are so important, like meditation, prayer,
Mm-hmm.
just taking time for yourself, whether it be chair yoga or just sitting there and breathing.
Right.
There's such power in the breath. Remember when your parents used to tell you when you got a little crazy, your parents used to say, look, just stop and take a breath.
I tell it to my son. It's not
Right.
that bad. I tell him, take a deep breath in, and it's funny because one day he said to me, Mommy, the other day I got really mad and I did what you said and I felt better. And I'm like, yes.
Yes. Absolutely.
But
That deep breath, man, it definitely calms you.
I tell you what, yesterday I was not, I was having a rough time and my watch said, breathe. And I'm like, I don't want to breathe. Leave me alone.
Stop telling me to breathe.
Don't tell me to breathe.
I just did that right before we started. It was like, it's time to stand. It's time to breathe. I'm like, look, mister. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Right.
If you pay attention, I'm really big on mindfulness. If you
Yes.
pay attention when those things happen, you
Right.
can see they were put there for a reason.
Right.
It's just amazing how life is.
Yes.
It is. So I don't want to keep you too long. So I'm
Okay.
going to ask you two more questions.
Okay.
What is a favorite quote of yours that gets you through hard times?
This is it's hard for
And
me.
it could be your quote. It could be a
Right.
Bible verse. It could be whatever makes you
Right.
say to yourself, I can do this.
When I was teaching, I taught preschool for over 20 years.
Wow.
And our director, Deborah, she was really, really special to me. And I remember her always saying, either you're on the bus, either you're on the bus or you get off the bus. So it was like you either you're all in or you get off.
Right.
So
I mean, it's just to the point.
right.
It's like, are you going to live or are you going to just sit and die?
Right. Right.
And that's an important quote to
Yeah.
keep in front of you.
Right.
And it's something that's probably going to move you forward in your fight.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What advice would you give other lupus warriors? Like, give me 3 pieces of advice that you might give them just to get over the hard days, or just to be able to keep moving on.
I think the first thing is it's okay to be humble and ask for help.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That was very hard for me. Um, Secondly, give yourself time. Be patient with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay if you can't get out of bed that day,
Mm-hmm.
or, and I think the third one is to accept the support of your family
Mm.
trying to help. They may not have the right um, ideas or whatnot, but they're
Yeah.
mean. They mean well.
Yeah. And just not being so I don't know how to put it. I don't want to say sensitive. I guess that is the word I'm trying to say.
Right.
Um, Sometimes in our pain, we can be very sensitive, and
Right.
even when people are trying to help.
Right.
I think it's great. You just said about being humble and asking for help, and I think that's important because I think a lot of us we know we're strong
Right.
because we're here today after dealing with whatever has gone through in our lupus lives.
Right.
But it's hard to ask for help,
Mm-hmm.
and it's even harder to accept it.
Right.
Have you had an incident where someone tried to help you and you wouldn't accept it?
It's usually my husband.
They always get a bad rap.
Poor husband. you know.
I love it. But you gotta love him because you know what? You punch him in the nose and he comes right back up. He pops back up and he's ready for the next punch in the nose. It's hilarious. I love it. I love it. Let's see what we have on here. Robin says, "Thank you, Diana, for sharing your story. Gentle hugs. We are stronger together." Robin, you are absolutely,
Thank you.
absolutely
Yeah.
right. Vasquez. Vasquez says, "Love you, Diana. I'm very proud of you."
Thank you. Right back.
Yes, awesome, awesome. We have some people laughing at us on Disco Flowers laughing. you know, so I'm not sure. Let's see. Okay, now Disco Flower made a good point. She said that happens even to people without lupus. I guess she was talking about the brain fog. I wasn't looking at it.
Oh, yes.
She said a teacher tip: make a printout of your med schedule and cross them out as you take them. Oh,
Oh,
oh, I'm gonna type that in the thing. Make a printout
printout.
of your meds and cross them out as you take them.
That's a great idea.
It is a great idea. And you know what? I would probably forget the list.
That's what I was gonna say. I'll probably forget where I put it. I'm
Right?
in every room.
It's like I'm like this. Where's my list? Anyone see my list? It's in your hand, Mom.
Oh, yeah.
But that's a great idea. That's a great
Yeah.
idea, and it's worth a try. And I will eat nails if they said it would help me deal with it.
For sure, right?
Yes, absolutely. Is there any, parting words you want to give us before we go?
I just thank you to everyone that came on tonight to listen. And I really thank you.
Oh, I'm so happy that you were open to come on the show and to share your story. We try to give people some encouragement through, sharing people's stories. It's real important so that people do not feel alone in this
Right.
fight. So I so appreciate you. I have enjoyed talking to
Thank
you
you so
immensely,
much.
and I hope that we can do this again soon.
I'd love to. Yeah.
And let me just say what Corey said. Erica says, hugs and kisses, Lupus Warriors. Back at you, Erica. Love you. Corey says you could also program your calendar on your phone to alert you when to take your pills. That's a good one. And Robin says, I turn my bottles upside down after I take them. Good one.
That's my uncle does that, and that's a great one.
That's really good. So if you have if you program your calendar, If you
Right.
make a list
Right.
and you turn them upside down, you got a winner. You're gonna be remembered to take those pills.
That's right.
You're definitely gonna remember.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Right. That,
definitely. Thank you. Thank you so much. That was such a beautiful, beautiful story. And I so appreciate you coming on the show.
thank you so much for your time.
So have a beautiful
You,
evening, and I hope to see you again soon. I'll send you the Isla Health link in the
okay.
IG.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Diana.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
What a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful story. What a beautiful story. I love hearing lupus warriors and how they have overcome the challenges that lupus has brought them. So I'm so excited that you all were able to join us here in the Lupus Live with Lupus Warrior Diana. And I hope that you continue to follow her on her social media pages and, find out what you can do to help. If you wanted to speak at her support group or whatever it is, just reach out to her and just give her an encouraging word. So I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we will be back here on Monday when we will be talking about health and wellness with Kim House. So don't miss that. We're actually going to be on IG. So if you're on Instagram, hit us up at Lupus in Color and find out on Monday about 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when we'll be going live. And I appreciate you all tuning in and have a great evening. Bye now.